Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all. Thanks for coming today. Hi, my name is Beth Merritt Miller, and I'm the Assistant Vice Provost for University Advising. I have the privilege of overseeing the academic advising at Cal Poly, including the Mustang Success Center, which supports first-time, first-year students, the University Advising Retention Team, and the Transfer Center. This fall, you'll join a community of more than 1,000 transfer students from across the San Luis Obispo campus, Maritime Academy, and the Bachelor's Pathway program. You bring valuable experiences, perspectives, and talents that strengthen our university, and we're thrilled you've chosen Cal Poly. At Cal Poly, our Learn by Doing philosophy means that you'll be actively engaged from your very first day through hands-on projects, research opportunities, internships, fieldwork, and close collaboration with faculty and classmates. You'll build the knowledge and experience that will prepare you for success after graduation. Now, I'd like to introduce Sarah Basio. She's the Assistant Director for the Transfer Center. She'll share more about the Transfer Center and the support and resources available to you to help you make the most of your Cal Poly experience. Sarah?
Thank you, Beth. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. So as Beth mentioned, my name is Sarah Basio, pronoun she, her, and I am the Assistant Director for the Transfer Center. It's great that you all are here so early. I'm looking over, I have two screens going on, so I'm looking over and seeing there's about 556 of us total. That's really exciting. Our majors are broken up between today and tomorrow, so we have so many students that we get to connect with, and it was wonderful to see you at our virtual SLO days or our in-person SLO days for part one over the last couple weeks. So I know today is a big day to dive into all things academics. So to get started, let's celebrate where our transfer students are. This is a unique time for Cal Poly where we actually have students at 4 campus locations. So we have the SLO campus, Maritime Academy Solano campus, and we have students in the Bachelor Pathways programs at Allen Hancock College and Cuesta College. So welcome to everyone. We are so excited to have you part of the Cal Poly transfer community. And myself and Allie, who you will hear from later, we're so excited to go to each of the campuses, be present there for you, and support you as you are Cal Poly transfer students. All right, as a part of your academic journey to success, today we are going to cover academic advising, transitioning to Cal Poly, and academic support resources. And then later today, you are going to get all the information about registration tools and how to register at Cal Poly. Plus, as we saw a lot in the chat, you are going to have dedicated time with your college advising center. So we'll have the webinar portion, as Dale mentioned, in the beginning, and then you will break out into a different Zoom link that is sent to you in your email, and we'll kind of bring that up a little bit later too. But that's where you will be able to access that link to get to your college breakout sessions, as well as the help desk. That link is in the chat too. If you have any questions or can't find that email, it is in your personalized agenda. All right, so let's dive in and start by discussing academic advising at Cal Poly. One of the things that you'll notice is you have probably already experienced this is different naming conventions that may be different from your previous institution. So throughout this conversation, throughout this presentation, we're going to do our best to really highlight some of those different naming conventions, but recognizing that you can always come over to the Transfer Center if you have any questions. If you get stuck with anything, we are happy to help connect with you and get you directed to the right resource or break down some of that for you. So Cal Poly is organized into 6 colleges and their associated acronyms, which you will see a lot. So if you already know your college, please take note of the associated acronym that you can see on the screen. So College of Architecture and Environmental Design, CAED, College of Architecture, Food, Environmental Sciences, CAFES, College of Engineering, CENG, College of Liberal Arts, CLA, Bailey College of Science and Mathematics, BCSM, and Orfalea College of Business, OCOB or OCOB. So if you are not sure which major, which college your major falls into, I'll have a slide in a little bit that can help identify that for you. But these 6 colleges represent the SLO campus, Solano campus, and students that are in the Bachelor Pathways programs, which you can see there on the screen as well. So why it's important to know which college your major falls into is that each college also has a college advising center that is associated with it. So at your previous institution, you might have gone to a transfer center, or you might have gone to an advisor or a counselor to help you get support with choosing what your academic path is. But at Cal Poly, you have your college advising center. So the advising centers are for continuing students and transfer students, help accessing your classes and your path. Students at Solano campus are going to access the Maritime Academy Center. Specifically for Bachelor Pathway students, you will be either accessing the program advisors or professional advisors or faculty advisors. It kind of depends on your program who you will be connecting with. So we will have those breakouts this afternoon, so you'll be able to meet those folks and be able to know specifically who your contact is. Students also are welcome to connect with their faculty for advising. And at Cal Poly, your faculty are an incredible resource to get connected with. They are also going to be able to support you in picking potentially grad school, getting support navigating your concentrations or any electives and that sort of thing as well, which I realize I jumped ahead to my next slide, so I apologize about that. The Mustang Success Center is only for first-time freshmen. So when you are visiting campus or if you're walking through Building 52, you might hear about the Mustang Success Center. So just knowing that is specific for first-time freshmen, we recognize that as transfer students, you have unique experiences and needs. And so that's why we connect you directly with your college, your first term at Cal Poly. Also, several of you are in the EOP program, you're in TRIO, or you're in athletics, and these programs serve as additional pillars of support for your time at Cal Poly. Okay, so this is the slide I jumped to a little bit early. So college advisors are experts in your major and will guide you to graduation. So they will help with course and curriculum planning, support with forms, course substitution, withdrawals or leaves of absence, transitioning to college too, interpreting policies. So again, navigating the differences between your previous institution and Cal Poly. Your college advisors are really here to support you through that. And then, of course, resource connections. There are so many resources here at Cal Poly, and it can be overwhelming. And so you have great support within your college advisors, great support within the transfer center to be able to navigate those. Also, our faculty advisors support students during their time at Cal Poly, so they'll help choose that concentration. If your major requires it, help you review internships, research opportunities, and then support in selecting specific electives. And also, faculty are your letters of recommendation for grad school or for jobs. So setting up a relationship with them early is important to your success. And I would say that one of the best ways to connect with your faculty is to attend office hours. So you can go and ask questions about content that you're learning in class, ask questions about your homework, or simply just ask them about their path to where they are now. And as you'll find out, as we do many of our events on campus, many of our faculty were also transfer students themselves. So it's a great place to be able to connect and have that interaction with them, build that relationship because they are going to support you throughout your time here and then after Cal Poly. Okay, so To access information regarding your college advising center, you're going to want to bookmark this page. So hopefully you can pull up another screen or another window and go to advising.calpoly.edu. You can also scan that QR code if it's easier to bring it up on your phone. This is how you are going to access also where your college, or sorry, where your major falls into for which college if you are not sure. You can also find information on how to connect with and set up for an advising appointment or also virtual drop-ins. Advisor calendars book up very quickly during the academic year. So we mentioned this at SLO Days Part 1, particularly if you were able to attend the Q&A that we had on the in-person day 2. And so we really encourage you to book a future appointment with your college advisor and making sure that you have that time set aside to be able to ask questions that you might not realize you have questions yet. And it seems like really far in the future to already be thinking about next semester's registration. But trust me when I say that calendars do get booked up, so you will feel more confident knowing that you have some dedicated time set aside to be able to meet with your college advisor. We at the Transfer Center are also hosting a drop-in advising event in early October, kind of coinciding with when the class schedule is going to be released. And so keep a lookout for that. Ali in a little bit will talk with you about events and where to access those events. So keep a lookout for that flyer, and that would be another great way to be able to pop in and ask some quick questions to your advisor. Also, one last note, there is a transfer student specific section here. So learning all about transfer specific advising, you can see that on the screen as well. So go ahead and take that picture, bookmark that for later. It's nice to have a one-stop shop to be able to access your advising centers. Okay, so later today, so as I mentioned, you're going to learn all about the registration tools and have time for college advising sessions. So prior to today, you may have received an email from evaluations, though some may be delayed. And so real quickly too, I want to just take a minute to shout out the registrar. They have been working tirelessly to process these evaluations of your transfer credits. And this is no small task for the staff. And so what you also may not realize is that we have switched from quarter to semester. That has really accelerated the timeline for needing to get all of this work updated and completed. And so it has been no small task for our partners in the registrar's office. In addition, we also have the integration of Maritime, which adds a whole second system and process to kind of get into one process. So I want to give a huge thank you to that team. I don't think they're here yet, which is fine. But please, when they pop on later, thank them, give them a shout out, just recognizing and knowing that you have your faculty, you have your college advisors, you have the transfer center, you have so many folks who you get to interact with every day that are supporting you. You have a whole team of folks that you won't necessarily see that are really setting you up for success and helping with reviewing those transfer credits. So a big thank you to them. I also want to note, because of this accelerated timeline and the differences in setting up with the integration, there is going to be that slight delay for specifically Cal Poly Maritime Academy students in receiving the email from evaluations. But I don't want you to worry, because this afternoon you have, again, your college advising team, and they are here to support you with the information that you have and making sure that you are making informed decisions on what classes you get. Let's see. So also you will have hopefully reviewed your major specific fall suggested course list that is available online, and then also that email with your college advising breakout session link. So I know as we were kind of just getting started, there was a lot of questions in the chat, or in the Q&A, I should say, about that. So the same email where you access the link to get here this morning is where you're going to find that college advising breakout session Zoom link. It'll most likely, it's going to be one additional click with finding your personalized agenda for the day. So when we have a break after this session, go back into your email, find, I think you got a reminder email probably about 2 to 3 days ago, and that's where you had this link. Go to that personalized agenda, and then that's where you can pull out the college advising breakout session Zoom link information. And then if it has really been lost, don't worry, because we also have the help desk that can direct you as well. And as we kind of talk about Cal Poly emails, I want to share some advice that really is going to be the main form of communication between the institution and you as a Cal Poly student. So financial aid, student account, your faculty, advisors, everybody is going to communicate with you through that email. So I encourage you to start making that your routine, is to check your Cal Poly email, so that way you don't miss anything. And if you do have any issues accessing that, then please connect with our ITS and they can help you sort that out. All right, so here is what we have coming up for registration next steps. Every college will have Zoom drop-ins for transfer students coming up this week and then into next week. And you will need to check when these are offered for your college, because they're not going to all be the same. It really is going to be major dependent, but at the advising breakout sessions later today, this information will be shared with you. You can find it on the advising websites. You can find it on that transfer specific advising website as well. This is where you can just get support. You can chat with your advisor if you don't feel like you got enough time later today. And then as you're starting to get into the registration tools, if you need additional support with that as well. August 10th is the big day. That is the day that you will officially register for your first fall semester. Your individual registration appointments will be published to your student center, but generally the colleges are broken up into the morning and the afternoon, really to prevent the system from crashing. So remembering those acronyms from before, because these are really long college names to be able to list out on the slide. Generally, we're going to look at the 9 a.m. is going to be morning session is going to be College of Architecture, Food, and Environmental Sciences, College of Engineering, Bailey College of Science and Math. And then for afternoon, starting around 1, College of Architecture and Environmental Design, College of Liberal Arts, and then the Orfalea College of Business will have afternoon appointments. So you'll check your student center to see when your specific appointment is. And a couple questions we actually got at SLO Days Part 1 that I wanted to bring up today is that this is not an appointment with any specific person. This is an appointment that allows you within the system to actually register. And again, that's so the system doesn't crash. And then in future semesters, you'll be registering with the continuing student population. And so enrollment appointments are going to be based on your units completed. So each term you're going to want to check your registration appointment. And then I also highly recommend that you have your classes like already ready, already set. You've already had that conversation with your advisor. You've already visited drop-ins to have kind of some alternate plans if needed. So that way, when it comes to your registration appointment date and time, you simply register and you don't have to do any of that thinking about what ifs and what classes you should take. Let's see, then August 11th to the 13th, you can check any courses that you were waitlisted for. It is important to still get on waitlisted courses and double check. They'll run a few times throughout the night and day because there are seats that are held in many of the courses for transfer students. So you would be able to jump that waitlist. So it's just really important. Keep checking your schedule. Make sure that you're locking into a full schedule and locking into what it is that you need. And then on August 15th to the 21st, that's going to be open enrollment. And that'll be for students to be able to, again, make adjustments if needed to your schedule. And then you can continue to reach out to your advisor with any questions that you have, or if you didn't get into the classes that you hoped that you were waitlisted for, and what are some of your alternate options. So lots to look forward to. It's still a lot of prepping and getting ready, and we will do the actual registration on August 10th. But don't worry, again, you are not late in the process. It is just as a new and incoming student, this is just what the timeline will look like. And then future terms, again, you will be registering with all the continuing students. All right, so let's transition into your transition to Cal Poly. So I do want to just take a minute again to recognize that everyone here's transfer experience is different. So as I mentioned at SLO Days Part 1, with all of your transfer student identities, you bring resilience, adaptability, valuable life experiences, and diverse perspectives that strengthen our campus community. And it is okay to still struggle in the transition. You're experiencing a new campus. There's new lingo, there's new locations to find, new websites to navigate, and just new expectations. So even if you're coming from another 4-year institution, you're figuring out your faculty here, how to balance more course load or coursework, how to also balance that upper division coursework than potentially at your previous institution. Really too, as you're navigating the transition, it's really important to find your community. So that can be people in your classes, clubs, sports, on-campus jobs. I know that's when I was a student, a great way that I found my community was actually working in the residence halls. So I do really encourage you to get involved and find that on-campus job, to join a club. We actually have the Association of Transfer Students that we would love for you to join. So we have that information available if you're interested. There's also leadership positions available. And so I just encourage you to find a way to make this experience what you want it to be. Cal Poly as a whole has a lot to offer, and so that can be overwhelming. So it's important to really recognize that you don't have to do it all, but you chose Cal Poly for a reason. And I encourage you to really get the most out of your time here, however that makes sense to you. And then I also want to kind of end on the academics and the transition. As just a general rule, it is recommended to study 25 to 35 hours per week, so roughly 2 hours per unit per week. And that's a part-time job. That's almost a full-time job. So really locking into your why. Why did you choose Cal Poly? Why did you choose your major? And then how is Cal Poly going to get you to the next stage of your life? So you're dedicating a lot of time and energy here. So we want to encourage you to engage with resources, engage with your support networks to help you actualize those goals. And with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Allie, who is the Academic Support Coordinator for the Transfer Center, to talk about support resources.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate you introducing me and giving us a little bit of how advising works here at Cal Poly. So kind of to just get us started, I'm going to be giving y'all a little bit about the support resources offered here at Cal Poly. At least for the beginning, some of this might seem a little bit of a recap for our friends that we met during part 1, but for all of our maritime friends who might be hearing from me for the first time, hello, it's so exciting to meet y'all. I'm very excited to share a little bit about what we have going on here with you all. Next slide, please. Alrighty, so who am I? Who are we? What is this? This is the Transfer Center. So here at Cal Poly, Sarah sort of mentioned this already, we're not an academic advising center, but we are a resource center. We are here to help y'all build community, make connections, kind of find your space, but then also learn about other resources that are available to you, whether that is career services, whether that's campus health and well-being, whether that's being able to study abroad. Really just we want to be that one-stop shop for you all. So as you can see here, these are some photos from this last year. They bring me so much joy, and they kind of show a little bit about what we do. So as a little reminder, we are physically located at the Cal Poly SLO campus in building 52 rooms 29 and 30. What we offer is a little bit of free printing, Scantrons, snacks. We also have a study space that has big whiteboards for students to go out and do their equations on. In these two rooms, you can see one of them is located in the middle with two of our former student assistants. That room is really dedicated to doing more community-based events, so whether that's games, whether that's doing a little bit of drawing, whether that's having in and out, that usually happens in our little cozy study space, whereas our bigger space, which isn't listed in this slide, that's where the major whiteboards are, as well as some of our bigger events, like we'll do the transfer drop-in advising later this term, as well as doing more professional development skills-based workshops. So checking out how do you make a resume and how to network on campus, stuff like that. We also have our wonderful student assistants located in both of these physical spaces. Some of our two returners, student assistants, are located in the bottom left photo, Diana and Carissa, so they'll be here to help answer any questions that y'all might have. We also have student assistants that are across a range of colleges on campus, so if you do want to ask specific questions like, how did you like Soc 101? They might be able to help be like, oh, in my experience, it was this. So we really rely on them as they bring a wealth of knowledge from all of their different community colleges, and they will always be in the space with you to answer any questions you may have. We also have a few more, they're just not in any of the photos here. Some of our ways that we show up virtually for some of our Bachelor Pathway friends as well as our Maritime friends. We are on Canvas, Zoom, Instagram, and so much more. My pride and joy is the Canvas. All of our friends that are at SLO, Hancock, or Cuesta, you all have been invited into the Canvas already. If you haven't, please go check your Cal Poly email. You should have been, so please answer, say yes, I want in. And then our Maritime folks, you will be added into your own Cal Poly Maritime Transfer Student Hub Canvas page, either at the end of today or tomorrow. And both of these hubs act as more of a digital platform and a guide for you all that have resources specific to being a transfer student, whether that's at SLO, Hancock, or Cuesta, or in Maritime. We want to make it easier for y'all to know where to go 24/7, because I may be in bed at 1 a.m. and you might be really wanting to figure out how to get connected with an academic advisor. Being connected to the Canvas gives you that access. In addition to that, we also talk about what parking might look like at Cal Poly campus or SLO or Cuesta campus or Hancock campus. We might talk about what career services looks like at Maritime. It just has a ton of information and a ton of just resources available for you all. In addition to the Canvas, we also we host virtual drop-in hours every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That is just another way for y'all to not quite sure where to go for anything. Whether you're, out in Santa Maria and you don't want to drive all the way to Poly to ask us a question, you can hop into our virtual Zoom. Usually it'll be myself, but once fall term starts, we'll have our students in there answering questions as well. And that can also be not just a place to answer questions, but a place to build community, maybe chat it out with Carissa about, a business class that y'all both took at community college, and kind of the next thing you have another connection. In addition to that, we also have hybrid style events, which I will be talking about in a later slide. And then finally, another way for y'all to get connected with the Transfer Center, as well as just the transfer student experience as a whole, are through two of our student kind of ran organizations. One of them is the Transfer Student Advisory Council. That is led by our graduate student in the Transfer Center. It gives y'all a platform or a safe space to kind of talk about your experience, what's worked, what maybe hasn't been your favorite thing, and how we as the Transfer Center can really help elevate your voices to the rest of Cal Poly to make sure that we can help meet the needs that you might be looking for. The other way to get involved is by joining the Association of Transfer Students, ATS Club, student-run club. It's super fun, great way to make friends, maybe off campus, maybe getting together and socializing at a cute little coffee shop in Nimpomo, just stuff like that, really relevant to whatever y'all want to make it to be. So yeah, those are just two other additional ways to kind of get involved and get connected to the center, and also really celebrate being a transfer student, as that's kind of one of our major goals. Next slide, please. All right, I started to kind of talk about this a little bit in the last slide. This is events and community building. As you can see, there's a QR code. If you have a device handy, feel free to scan it. That will take you to our Cal Poly Now. So Cal Poly Now is something that Cal Poly uses to really discuss any events that are going on campus. You will need to sign in with your Cal Poly email, but it has a wide array, anything from like student-ran clubs and organizations to centers like ours, where we're just going to be posting up the wazoo about what we have going on. So a few of the things you can see on the right-hand side there about some things that are coming up. There are a few things that are missing that I want to just pop in and add. So Cal Poly Transfer Center is visiting Maritime on August 22nd. We're super stoked about that. That's going to be one of our first events of the year. The next one is the Transfer Center Fall Kickoff. That just got posted to our Instagram, but Wednesday, August 26th, if you happen to be at the SLO campus, come on by. We'll have food, we'll have snacks, we'll have activities. It'll be a great way to kind of explore the center, see the resources, and get to chat it out with some new friends and connections. Following that, we have Transfer Career Readiness Day. As you can see, that is a whole day of events that are specific to getting y'all prepared and feel ready for the career fair. That is a major event that happens at SLO campus. And this is our way to kind of make sure y'all get that one-on-one time with all of the different career services representatives, the advisors. You get to look over your LinkedIn, you get to look over your resume, you get to learn how to give your statement spiel. And as you can see, with that one being a bit of a longer event, it's not required that you go the whole day to really get, you know, the full experience. There really builds up for you to come for just a few minutes not just a few minutes, just one or two events, or come, you know, in the evening or come in the morning, whatever really works for your schedule. And then the biggest one down at the bottom is National Transfer Student Week. What is that? That is one of the coolest times ever, especially having been a transfer student myself. It is our time to fully celebrate y'all and really help give back to you, to show you what it means and how proud we are of you and all of your accomplishments on this journey. National Transfer Student Week is October 19th through the 23rd. It will be happening on SLO campus, as well as a ton of different hybrid and virtual remote events specifically, just so we can make sure that we can reach y'all wherever you are. So for some of our virtual/hybrid events that we'll be happening, one of them will be focusing on how to plan for your senior project. That one we'll be doing in collaboration with the library. We'll also be doing a transfer research panel. I know a lot of folks are really interested in how to get involved in research. This is something that might be really major for where you want to go in life, and that's something that can be really challenging to kind of figure out on your own. So we do a research panel with the Office of Student Research. And then we'll also be having a panel to discuss going to graduate school and what that might look like and the steps to get there, as well as what that might look like if you wanted to do it at Cal Poly SLO specifically. All of these events will either be happening fully on Zoom or with an option for y'all to Zoom in, and we might also have student panelists that are also Zooming in. So it'll be a really great time to kind of attend some of those more hybrid events. We also, like I mentioned earlier, have all of our events for fall term already posted up to Cal Poly Now, except for National Transfer Student Week. So you might be able to go see, oh, this one looks really cool, September 14th. I've always wanted to study abroad, but I have no idea how to do that. I'm going to go to that, and that's something that you can either come in person for or you can come online as well. We really just want to be able to get y'all to come to any event, wherever you're all at, and make sure that you get to really enjoy just the events and the community building side of the Transfer Center as well. Next slide, please. Alrighty. In addition to being a support resource area, we also really want to make sure we're supporting y'all through your academic success. You have a network of support at Cal Poly, and it includes us in the Transfer Center, but it also includes a ton of other folks across campus. As you can see on the right hand side, there's the Writing and Learning Center. This is where you'll go to if you need help with tutoring. They also offer workshops for certain classes, whether that's like a math upper division 1 class or a maybe a really difficult science class that you might need to take if you're a sciencey major kind of person. There's also library support services. We'll actually be doing an event with the library in the early beginnings of fall term, but basically that'll be talking about how to access different resources within the library, whether that's different help desks for the online forms as well as the actual in-person library. There's also the Academic Skills Center. That's another area where you can get connected with your academic advisors. You can get connected with different affinity spaces that also might have more of a academic advising lead. So you might have a specific advisor. If you're within like EOP, for example, you will have your own advisor. And then there are also the transfer academic coaches. Next slide, please. All right, so transfer academic coaches, we did talk about them a little bit in SLO Days Part 1, but just a little bit of a recap. The transfer academic coaches are located within the Office of Writing and Learning. Transfer academic coaches are so cool because they offer that peer one-on-one support on topics including everything you can see listed on the left-hand side, but a couple of few standouts for myself, really that study tips, those time management, how to connect with faculty, how to navigate group projects, what might have worked for you at community college, maybe a little bit different at Cal Poly, just as you're navigating other folks' schedules, as well as the professors when they're available. It might look super different from what it was at community college or maybe another university that you've transferred from. And then a big one that we see students really going and connecting with their transfer academic coaches for is how to balance your time at Cal Poly. Like Sarah mentioned earlier, 25 to 35 hours required for studying and academics specifically can be so much, especially if you're already working off campus, you're working on campus, you have dependents at home, you have older family members you have to take care of. There's so much that goes into the identity of being a transfer student that sometimes it can be really overwhelming and you're not sure where to go for just that one-on-one peer support. So meeting with a transfer academic coach is a great way to do that. I recommend doing it maybe in your first couple weeks at Cal Poly just to kind of get used to finding another person, talking it out in the beginning, and maybe making it more of a regular thing in your schedule. So in that sense of like you meet in the first couple weeks and then maybe you meet during week 6 or 7 and then you meet during weeks 11 or 12 just so that you have that repetition of meeting with somebody. It's not required, it's completely free, and these students are there to support you. With that in mind, there's also the opportunity for you all, if you all want to be transfer academic coaches, at some point you are also more than welcome to apply for that as well. I know some of our student assistants were transfer academic coaches at their community colleges, and then they came here and were like, whoa, this is a really cool opportunity. I'd love to do this because it offers another way to sort of give back to the other transfer students as well. So yeah, that is transfer academic coaching. This is another great tool, like I mentioned. And then again, just another great way to meet another transfer student on campus and kind of hear from them, maybe what their experience is and how that can be helpful for you as you go forward at Cal Poly. Now with that, next slide, I think I'm going to pass it back to Sarah to wrap it up for us.
Thanks, Allie. Perfect. All right, thank you so much, Allie. Yes, so that was great overview of resources to support your academic success. And then we kind of just wanted to wrap up a little bit with tips for success. So we've talked about a lot of things today. You're going to get a lot more information here in a couple minutes from the registrar, and then also this afternoon or later this morning with your college advising centers. So really, write down your questions, use the Q&A. We'll be able to jump back in and answer a lot more of those. We'll take a break here in a couple minutes, but really thinking about wrapping up those tips for success is utilizing your college advising center and your faculty advisors often. If these are folks that you did not engage with at your previous institution, please know that you do not have to do this on your own. There are so many people who are here to support you and want to see you succeed and want to be a part of helping you succeed. So getting into those appointments, doing drop-ins, coming by. If you're getting stuck, again, come by the transfer center and we can help you get connected to the right folks. We really want you to be your best advocate, to seek that help out early and really to not wait until you're overwhelmed. Depending on if you're coming from a quarter system, semester might look a little bit different, or if you're used to a semester system and you're still in a semester system now at Cal Poly, that's all great. But remembering that this is a different institution, there's a lot of things to learn, and it is okay to reach out and ask for help. You don't have to do it alone. Also, really marking down academic deadlines, when your tests are, when papers are due, have your calendaring system. So you have a calendar through your Cal Poly email with Outlook. That's really helpful. I know I love a good calendar. I'm really utilizing the Office of Writing and Learning, your Transfer Academic Success coaches, to kind of give you some of those tips. How can you be successful at Cal Poly? What has worked for them? And then take what will work for you. You don't have to do something the exact way an academic coach says, but really take those tips, mold it, and adapt it to what is going to help you be the most successful. And I already mentioned this, but really engaging with the Office of Writing and Learning. They have fantastic resources. They have fantastic tutors, the academic support coaches. These are all great individuals to be able to help you. And getting in early is going to be in your best interest, so you're setting yourself up for success. All right, so we want folks to stay connected with us. So this is just a little bit of a wrap up from the Transfer Center. So Allie already mentioned this, but we're in building 52, which is also known as the Science Building. We're in rooms E30 and E29. You can scan the QR code for our Cal Poly Now. So really utilizing that for our Transfer Center events, but also searching more broadly for all the different events that happen on campus and just getting involved. Also connect with your college advising center and your department directly, because they will host events as well that are going to be more niche and more specific, and within students that are also in your major. So those are great ways to get involved and just to kind of see what's going on. We have our Instagram, so you can scan that QR code to follow us on Instagram. Allie mentioned all the events are getting posted there. You can message us through Instagram or through email, and we're happy to connect with you as we really get the flyers and everything set for National Transfer Student Week. That'll be a great place to be able to keep track of what's going on. And then just generally our Transfer Center website. So we have sections on our website for our SLO campus students, for our Bachelor Pathways students, for our Maritime students, and then also the Canvas you can access from there too, if you needed to be able to find a different button to click into that. But otherwise, Allie sent that to you in your emails. So please reach out. Any questions that you have, we're here to support you. And we're really grateful that you're here. And we're really excited to be able to meet you and support you during your time at Cal Poly. But right now, what we're actually going to do is take a break. So we're just about where we should be with our time. We're going to break until 10, and we have our registrar team who is going to get set up and get ready to launch into our registration tools. That'll go from about 10 to 11, and then you will have your college breakout sessions. And so again, reminder, go back to that email that was sent to you just a couple days ago and take a look at your personalized agenda, and you should be able to click that and find where that college advising breakout session Zoom link is. If you can't find it, again, the help desk will be available, and I believe that is still in the chat for that link, for the Zoom help desk link. So if you get stuck, but right now, go ahead and feel free to keep using the Q&A and ask us any questions. I see it actually kind of got down, so we might be okay. And then we'll keep responding to our Q&A, and then we'll see you back here. So stay in the Zoom link. We will see you back here at 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Just a second. I'm just in there.
All right, we're seeing everybody kind of popping back if they had to step away for a minute and visit the help desk. So thank you so much. I'm glad you got a little bit of a break. Hopefully you stood up. And then we are so excited to welcome our registrar team, and they are going to share with you all about registration tools so you can feel confident and ready to register on the 10th and then in your future semesters. So I will go ahead and turn it over to the registrar. Thank you so much again for being here.
Hi, good morning. My name is Bond Allen, and thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the Office of the Registrar Registration Overview. It's going to be me and Michelle Kakeha joining and doing this presentation. During your time at Cal Poly, the Office of the Registrar is where you go to assist with registration issues, leaves of absence, withdrawals, verification letters, transcripts, curricular substitutions, questions about policy related to transfer credit, and credit no credit grading, and a variety of other topics. Today, we will give you an overview of the Student Center and Class Search, but we'll spend a majority of the time showing you Schedule Builder. Schedule Builder is a tool that will allow you to build your schedule each term. While Class Search will allow you to look up one course, Schedule Builder will allow you to pull in all courses you would like to take that term and show you different scheduling options that are available. Before we begin, we'll take a minute to show an overview of several of the tools you'll use during your time at Cal Poly and how they all fit together. Later, we will show you where these tools are located. Your Student Center is a hub for a variety of things in your portal. You can find your schedule, any outstanding fees, holds, registration information, and a variety of other helpful resources. Degree Planner is the tool students use to plan their coursework while at Cal Poly. The program uses your flowchart for your major and places courses in a suggested term. Students are encouraged to use this tool for planning purposes. Departments also have access to this tool to set seat demand from this information, which helps plan for more accurately for which courses are needed. Note that Cal Poly curriculum has undergone extensive changes during the transition to semesters and the merge with the Solano campus. Your degree planner may not look as you anticipate the first time you sign in. Once you begin to plan your coursework, it will be better indicator for your future terms. Your degree progress report, or DPR, is a tool that you should run often. It shows how coursework is applied to your program of study and tracks your progress. It also shows how coursework and credit received from external areas is applied to your degree. A general recommendation is to run your degree progress report, or DPR, after you register for each term, and then again once grades post. Again, Cal Poly curriculum has undergone extensive changes during the transition to semesters and merging with the Solano campus. If you run your degree progress report and results are not consistent with what you anticipate, please work through questions with advising. Schedule Builder is the tool we'll discuss today. Once you've used Degree Planner to map out which courses you plan to take for the term, you can use Schedule Builder to build out your class schedule. Class sections at Cal Poly are impacted, so it's recommended to build a few different scheduling options. When it's time to enroll, you can access your favorite schedules during the registration process. Transfer students are encouraged to enroll based on the recommended course list for their program. This will be discussed when you meet with your advisor. There may be slight deviations between the recommended course list and degree planner as you plan your first few terms at Cal Poly. Before we get started, it is important to note we won't be covering detailed information related to your curriculum for your major. If you have specific questions associated with your curriculum, the Advising Center for your college is the best place for assistance. We have several people from our office joining us today, so feel free to ask questions during the demo. If time allows, we will give a quick recap of those questions after the presentation. Please make sure to share all questions with everyone as opposed to direct messages. Use the Q&A as opposed to the chat so all participants can track questions in one location. We'll be using the Zoom chat for helpful links.
All right, and we will start our demo here. Bear with me as we get the share started. All right, Bon, can we give a thumbs up if we have the right screen going on here? All right, and I appreciate your patience as I navigate through a few different screens here. I am going to turn off my video so I don't distract myself. But getting started. So from your student center, so when you log in, we'll take a look at class search and schedule builder. So as mentioned, class search is a tool to view the complete class schedule. So navigating to class search. Sorry about that. Filters will allow you to narrow down search results. As a reminder, classes can be impacted. Using fewer filters will show you the greatest number of sections. So key filters to understand as we start to navigate through class search. The first one is your term. So you may see a variety of terms that pop up. We're going to navigate to fall 2026. Campus is the next one to be very mindful of. Cal Poly has two primary campuses. There's the main campus and Solano campus. So looking at our dropdown, we also have Allen Hancock and Cuesta College. Selecting campus is a required field, and you'll note that by the small asterisk in that field. The registration system will not prevent your enrollment in classes at another campus. So it's important to be aware of campus when enrolling in classes. And the examples that I'm going to go through, we'll be looking at sections for the main campus. So I'll get that selected now. Just some helpful information. You can easily differentiate between campus locations based on the section numbers. So the main Cal Poly campus section numbers will start with an alpha letter S. So we won't go into too much detail, but just to show the visual at this point, if I'm searching for main Cal Poly campus courses, you'll see section numbers start with an S here. So that's S01 to S99. For Cal Poly Maritime Academy, sections will be starting with an M. So M01 to M99. Allen Hancock will start with an H. Cuesta College will start with a C. Virtual or hybrid or online sections, they will begin with a V. And cross-listed sections, so those are sections that may be offered between programs or majors, those are identified with an X. So as you navigate through and you see those different section numbers, if you don't intend to take, if you're on the main campus and you don't intend to go to Allen Hancock, just be very mindful of the section numbers that you're enrolling in. There will be links in the chat again, so there's more information in the Zoom chat with information about section numbers. The next piece of information we'll look at is course attributes. So that's this next one here. This filter will help you find degree applicable requirements, such as courses that fulfill a general education requirement, United States cultural pluralism courses, or courses that fulfill the graduation writing requirement. If searching for a GE course, you can use the second drop-down to further limit the request. As an example, instead of searching for all GE Area 1 courses, you can further limit to select the second field and look for GE Area 1A sections. And by hitting search with my main campus selected, this will show me all courses that fulfill that GE Area 1A requirement that are offered with open seats at the main campus. So it's important to know your catalog when searching for courses. We'll talk a bit more about that shortly. We'll also look more closely at search results after we go through a few more filters. In the chat, you'll find a link for more information about general education requirements, as well as a link to the explanations on key definitions for words you'll hear us say throughout this presentation. So back to our filters, I will get rid of this GE filter here. The next one to look at is session. The majority of the sections or the courses you're going to be enrolling in are in the regular academic session. So that's the 15-week term. However, Cal Poly does offer a small number of classes during the 7.5-week session. So that would either be the half-term 1 or the half-term 2. You do have the opportunity to enroll in those half-term session courses if you meet prerequisites. Just be mindful that the dates will deviate from the entire 15-week term. The remaining filters can be used if you want to drill down for specific courses or courses under a specific prefix. As an example, I can type in JOUR for journalism as the subject and see all courses again with my show open seats only checkbox selected. These will be all open seats that the journalism department is offering. Once registration begins, you may find that unchecking the open seats box will bring back more sections in the search results. If a class is full, you will have the option to waitlist. We'll go through the waitlisting process shortly. Using the start and end times, as well as days, so these fields here, will help you limit results to courses offered during certain times or days. Keep in mind, using this feature will limit course selections, which is not recommended as sections can be impacted. Modality of instruction, so this field here, may be used if you are searching for courses that are in person versus online. Cal Poly has 6 modalities of instruction. In the chat, you'll find more information about what each of these definitions means and what the expectation is as a result of if you're in an in-person course versus a synchronous online course. So let's review the search results with journalism, which we have selected here, 2219. And this is just an example as we go through and show the different features and options. A quick note about course numbers. Prior to fall 2026, Cal Poly course numbers were 3 digits. With the move to semesters, you will now see that course numbers are 4 digits. So looking at the results, in the top row of the section here, you can see where the section is offered, when the section is offered, the classroom, the instruction, and the modality of instruction. So in this example for journalism 2219, it's offered Monday, Wednesday from 4:30 to 5:50. Classroom is in the graphic arts building, the instructor, and then you'll also be able to see that it's offered in person, and you'll be able to see information regarding seat availability. Under this status here, you can see how many seats are available, and by hovering over the icon like we're doing now, you can see if seats are reserved for a specific population of students. So in this example, there are some seats being held for new transfer journalism majors. When you click into the section, you will be able to see the details. So looking at this particular section, if I were to click into it, I see the information expands here. So in terms of information that I'm looking at the course description, I'm looking at prerequisite information and class notes that are all listed in this area. If course materials or textbooks are required, that information will be listed here, and we'll show some additional information later about that. You'll see again that top level information on campus, instructor, meeting information, and then more detailed view on status of seats and if seats are reserved. As transfers registering, you will see seats held for incoming transfers distributed to those registering in the morning session and those registering in the afternoon session, unless they are held for a specific major, as the example that we're showing of journalism students. If you're suggested, once your registration time opens on August 10th, the registration system will remain open for you to add or drop or make edits until the end of the day on August 14th. Seats will remain held for transfers throughout that week. If your suggested course list indicates you should take something broader, like an upper division GE, class search will help you find what options may be available. So moving out of this example here and getting rid of journalism here. If I were to look at this course attribute field and select GE Area 3, and then in my course number, I type a 3 and I hit search, this will return results for fall semester courses at the main campus for GE Area 3, any GE Area 3, for the 3000 level. Again, I'm making sure to keep the show open classes only selected so that I see sections with seat availability. Search results will show you courses with open seats in the 3000 level. You can also do the same thing for 4000 level courses. Again, this is if you're looking for an upper division GE course. Be mindful of any class notes. Check reserve caps to see if seats are reserved for a specific student population, and check to see if you meet course requisites. The description provides catalog information on prerequisites and what the course fulfills. Class search will also allow you to enroll if you know the exact course you wish to take. So in this example, if I'm going to scroll down to Art 3324, class search will give you the option to, again, if I open up this selection here, this section, and I go to the bottom, it will give you the option to add this course to Schedule Builder, add it to my shopping cart, or again, you can enroll directly. For demonstration purposes, I'll add Art 3324 to my shopping cart. So that's this second button here. Note that before we can add it to the shopping cart, I must make additional selections. So grading basis, this field allows you to change the grading basis from graded to credit, no credit. Be mindful of when to elect to change from regular grading, as there may be impact. Information related to grading basis can be found in the chat. You also have the option to add a permission number or to waitlist if the class section is full. A permission number may be required if you do not meet course prerequisites or if the class is full. Permission numbers are special codes departments or class instructors may choose to issue so you can enroll in the class that the system may be preventing you from enrolling in on your own. Typically, you will only need to select the waitlist checkbox here if the class is full. Doing so when seats are available may put you on the wait list when a seat is open to you. So I am going to save this. So that is going to add it to my cart, and it lets me know that. And next, we're going to go in and look at Schedule Builder. So again, navigating back to this main page, if I look at the enrollment dropdown and Schedule Builder, the first thing that we will see is the welcome message. So the Office of the Registrar uses this welcome page to share updates. You have the option to view tips which are recommended down here at the bottom, especially on your first time logging into Schedule Builder. And if you choose to skip this message, which is here, the message will not appear again unless we refresh this message with more information if things change prior to the next term's registration. So from here, I'm going to select Continue. And then in the drop down, I'm going to select the term for which you are building a schedule. So clicking on this drop down or within the field itself, you may see multiple terms. So I'm going to select fall. And again, because of the nature of the registration system, it is very likely you'll see multiple terms in that drop down. Be mindful of which term you are navigating to. Again, in this example, we're going to look at fall. I had my welcome message pop back up, so I chose to just click back through it. Prior to building a schedule, let's first familiarize ourselves with the features. Keep in mind, the filters are very similar to those you just saw in Class Search. On the right-hand side, you will see several buttons over here. Favorites, you can create favorite schedules and save here for when registration begins. Tips, this is where you can view additional tips on Schedule Builder. Just like the landing page, it's a good idea to scroll through these once you begin or the first time you're using the tool. Filters are designed to be expanded or collapsed based on how you prefer to search for classes. You'll see you also have the option to import courses. If we were to click on import courses, we can see there are 4 drop-down items: planned, shopping cart, enrolled, and waitlisted. If you recall when we started, we mentioned once you plan out your courses for the term with Degree Planner, which is this planned option, you can use Schedule Builder to see potential class schedule options. So while you may not be doing that your first term at Cal Poly, in future terms, when you plan out your degree planner and you come back into Schedule Builder prior to registration, you can bring in that planned coursework. We'll take a moment to bring in Art 3324 from our shopping cart. So it will let me know 3324 is there, and I will import it. It had been previously saved in our last example. Now I'll take a minute to discuss Schedule Builder's filter tools, again, which are very similar to Class Search, but there are some differences. You'll notice that they are very comparable. Just like Class Search, the more filters you apply, the more limited things become in terms of potential options. Here in Schedule Builder, you have the option to build out your availability. So as an example, if I want no classes because I work on certain days, so say from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays, I can create that as a filter. You'll see I have a filter added here now. However, in the search results, it will not show you sections that meet at those times, so you are limiting what results you see. It's not recommended to use this unless there is a true requirement that you need to work around. And you can add multiple options here if you choose. Under availability, you will see the global filters. Let me get through that. I'll touch on this as well. The minimum break time, again, this is one that's not necessarily recommended. Cal Poly has designed classes have a 10-minute passing time to allow students to move from one class to another. The longer passing time you add between sections means the more limited options you'll see in the results. And so you'll have fewer choices to choose from as you're going through what options might be out there. But moving back to global filters, again, you'll see campus, which is a required field. You'll see session, which again, all very similar look and feel to class search. You'll see class status, and you'll see modality of instruction. As a reminder, campus is required. We see the asterisk here, and I'm going to, in this example, look at our main campus sections or offerings. For session, again, during the regular academic year, fall and spring, get through to that one. Most courses are offered in the 15-week or regular session, but you will encounter a limited number in these half-term or 7.5-week sessions. Class status also allows you to limit courses you see, but it's recommended to leave this filter blank. While you may want to search for only open seats at certain times, keep in mind students can waitlist for up to 12 units. Because classes are impacted, you might find that waitlisting will allow you additional opportunity to enroll in courses as seats become available. Modality of instruction, as previously discussed, is listed here, but as a reminder, you can limit results to in-person if you prefer not to take virtual classes. However, keep in mind, this will further limit course options when building schedules. So again, that's this row of information right here. Always pay close attention to class notes for sections. This will give helpful information for a specific section. So moving on to these section filters, again, these show you your GE, GWR, or USCP, like we covered previously. These are requirements in your curriculum. In Schedule Builder, you'll find you can select multiple course attributes. However, we recommend selecting only one option within this filter. As we will see shortly, selecting multiple options in this filter means courses that are returned in the results may fulfill one of the requirements, but not all. It's important to read the class descriptions during the registration process. So looking at an example, I will select GE Area 3 and I will select USCP. And as I start to see course selections that I can choose from, if I were to look at Art 1160 as an example, I'll see the description down here, and I'll see that this course fulfills GE Area 3A. However, if I were to look at English and I look at 3346 as my example, you'll see that it also fulfills an area in GE Area 3. So this is over here. So this is an upper division GE Area 3, but this course does fulfill USCP. So you want to be very mindful, and it's recommended that when you get into this filter here in Schedule Builder, you select one option as opposed to many, because it could be a little misleading in terms of what the results are showing you. It's important to note to that effect that Schedule Builder's filters work like a funnel. The more filters you select, the more specific scheduling options you will receive, which may limit the number of scheduling options you see. As I made selections in our GE filter examples, you might have noticed the course availability changed. So again, your sections here or your subjects here may shift, and your catalog numbers based on what information you're adding up in these top level filters. You also do have the option to bypass these filters and directly search for classes by a subject or catalog number, which you'll see here. That brings us to the last line of filters. Again, the course selection, which is the subject and the catalog number. This is the area you can add a course that was not planned or imported from another area by going to it directly without having to use the filters to search. Because you may not have used Degree Planner at this point, it's recommended that you visit the recommended course list for your major. Again, we'll note that here, and build out schedule options based on those courses. Now that we've gone over the available features and filters, it's time to create our fall term schedule. So as a reminder, we had the option to pull in planned, shopping cart, and waitlisted courses. Those were up here in this area. We had a course added to the shopping cart and brought that into our selections, which you'll see here at the bottom. You'll see the different status. This shows that course is in my shopping cart. Once you move through the registration system, you'll also see icons for waitlisted or enrolled, and a few other pieces of information here. And as you hover over it, it will give you more information. So we are going to pull in a schedule that's looking for, not that, that's looking for journalism. And I'm going to pull in 3346. I'm going to add that. You'll notice it starts to populate more information down here. I'm going to add in 3342. And again, there's a variety of ways to start populating this information down here, whether you're importing courses or you're adding them through the filters or direct searches. And then I am also going to bring in an English course. So if I know my alphabet, I will look at English 3388 as my example. And I'm going to add that course as well. So down here at the bottom section, you can select up to 10 courses to build potential schedules with. When you click on the Select Sections page, the first thing you will see is the course description. So this button over here, if I select the Select Sections, you'll see the details information here. The details area provides course catalog information, such as course description, prerequisites, and what requirement the course may fulfill, such as GE, USCP, or GWR. As a new transfer, you will have either a morning or afternoon registration time on Monday, August 10th, as we mentioned. You can find your registration appointment in your student center. And for reserve caps for transfers in general education courses, you may see a certain number of seats are saved for the morning or AM group and a certain number saved for the afternoon or PM group. This was done to ensure seats were distributed equitably, regardless of whether you were assigned the first or second registration rotation. In the chat, you will find a link and a list of which colleges are scheduled to enroll in the mornings and which colleges enroll in the afternoon. The registration system will remain open to you until 11:59 on Friday, August 14th. Once you open this section, you can scroll down again, as we mentioned before, in this area, and see course material information. Course materials are the textbooks or course materials faculty have adopted or said would be required for a specific section. In this particular section, if I were to click on the link, it will take me out to the bookstore where it will give you a list of what course materials are required. You may also see information where no course materials are required or other notes from instructors here in this field. You'll see again on the right-hand side information on seat availability. You'll see the instructor and you will see location. So similar to information that we've already discussed in prior screenshots or prior navigation. Now that we've added our selected courses, so I will go back to my top level and click OK. So I'm back to this main area. It's time to build our schedule. So in building your schedule, you can allow the system to use all sections of a course, or you can identify specific sections, again, using these select sections buttons here. I'm going to say that I want to build our schedule using all sections, so we see the greatest number of possibilities when we're trying to build out schedules. A key feature in Schedule Builder is the ability to validate and see whether you meet prerequisites or have potential scheduling conflicts. So as I click Build Schedule, we'll note that an error occurred, and it is telling me here that this ART 3324 course that I was thinking I might want to register for conflicts with Journalism 3346. Because journalism is my major, I am going to choose to remove ART 3324 from the list of courses that I am trying to build a schedule with. So again, by selecting Build Schedule, now it allows me to proceed and see what my scheduling options are. There may be a variety of options here. In this example, I have 2 different schedules. I did use a limited number of courses for this example, but again, you can use up to 10. The system will show you up to 100 results that you can sort through to determine which schedule you want to try to register for first and see all of the different scheduling opportunities there are. So before we enroll, let's break down the available functionality on the calendar page. You will notice the following tabs. So you'll see this enroll button here. Again, this is available during the registration period. If schedule option 1, which is what I'm looking at now, is our ideal schedule, we could select enroll and enroll directly in these courses. The heart icon allows you to add this as a favorite. So if I were looking at results and I saw 15 options, I could go through and select up to 5 that are my favorite schedules. That means as the registration period begins, you can go to schedule 1 as your favorite or schedule 3 as your favorite and move through the options based on seat availability. Keep in mind, the class schedule is generally published 2 weeks prior to the start of registration. This means as you look at the term planning calendar, you'll have time to go into Schedule Builder to build out potential schedule options before the registration window starts. By validating your schedule, you also have time to identify if you may run into any issues when enrolling that would require a permission number or for you to adjust your plan and what course you're trying to take. We'll show you that validate feature in just a moment. A link to the plan calendar has been added in the chat. Next, we can look at a few other things. So we have this compare option here. You can look up to 3 schedules at a time to see which one may be ideal. So if I were to select compare 1 and compare 2, and I look at this option, it will show me what the differences are and what my schedule would look like if I chose option 1 or option 2. So moving back out of that compare field, I will get rid of that information. No, I won't. And then now we're going to look at the right-hand side of the page to see what options are available here. So if I look at these 3 dots here, I can see this is my schedule option 2. I can see what that looks like on a map view. And so that will give you an idea based on day of the week where you will be headed from class to class. So again, these particular schedules looking primarily at Monday and Wednesday, so it's very comparable. But if you're looking through a 5-day-a-week schedule, you can see what your schedule will look like on Monday versus Tuesday. You also have the option to look at a list view, which is just this view here, or a calendar view, which is the default. So we will now try to enroll. So I'm going to back to my schedule, my option 1, and I am going to select enroll. So in order to enroll in all sections, I need to select this checkbox here, which you'll notice selects the option for all of the courses or the sections that are in this preferred schedule. Down here at the bottom, you'll see the validate option. Again, this allows you to validate your schedule to see if you will run into any potential roadblocks during the registration process. And as I go through each course, it will let me know whether I'm good or if I run into a problem. If I run into a problem, it may be a situation where I need a permission number or I need to choose a different course because I don't satisfy prerequisites and I'm fairly certain the department may not be able to give me a permission number. So we strongly encourage that you validate your schedule prior to your registration window to know if there are any issues that you may run into. From here, we can add these sections to our shopping cart, again, by selecting Add to Cart. And then you can go to your student center and enroll directly in those sections. Or you can simply stay in Schedule Builder and enroll directly here. So once you click Enroll, you're going to have to make additional selections for each of these courses that you choose to register for. So as I look at Journalism 3342, I have the option to change grading basis, add a permission, or a wait list. I'm going to simply save the standard selections for these two courses. And I had noticed that English 3388 had a wait list. So in this particular situation, I am going to select the waitlist button and save that. So I am able to get a spot on the waitlist for that course or those sections that I'm looking at. Please do note that once a waitlist is formed on a course, you will have no other option than to waitlist, even if seats are available until the process runs that evening. Think of the waitlist as a line you cannot cut. The waitlist search engine runs nightly and enrolls students into available spots. You can check your schedule daily to see if your waitlist position has moved. You will receive an email notification when adjustments to your schedule have been made. If you get that email, check your schedule. As mentioned earlier, once you enroll in classes, it's a good idea to visit your degree progress report or DPR to make sure you are on track. So if I can get my cursor to behave, if I were to select enroll, you'll notice several messages here, and you're going to want to be very mindful of what those messages say. A green box here indicates that it's been added to my schedule and that I have been enrolled. This green box is letting me know that yes, the class has been added to my schedule, but it is full and I've been placed on the wait list in position number 2. You may also see information that you were not enrolled in a section. If that is the case, you need to go back through the steps and identify what the issue was because you may need a permission number or again to adjust your term schedule to look for something else in order to enroll. So by clicking OK, I am now enrolled in those 3 courses for my fall term schedule. Now Bond will give a little more information on features you'll find in the Student Center.
Thank you so much, Michelle. You can do additional registration actions in some other fields in your student center. Namely, we have your shopping cart here. Some departments set some classes or sections to no print, meaning that they will not publish to Schedule Builder. So if we click on our shopping cart here, for a section where you have been given the class number and or a permission number to enroll, you must do so directly from the enrollment shopping cart. So here, we're going to add a class and we can say add by class number and we'll type in the class number that we were given by the department. Ooh. And here we have a couple different fields. This is a variable unit course. So we're going to need to select the number of units that we're enrolled in. as well as the permission number we were given by the department. And then we can click Save. So that doesn't add it to our schedule. What we now need to do is click on it here and then click Enroll. And as Michelle said, you need to pay attention to the results. So this has now been added to your schedule. And where you will want to see your schedule is under here. This is currently where you see your schedule. You have different options. You can see the list view. This is where you're currently waitlist under position number 2. You can also additionally see your calendar. Oop. And this is as this is by arrangement, this doesn't have a set class time, so it's up at the top. Another action for enrollment is to drop classes. From the navigation, you're going to select drop classes. And we will select this waitlist course to drop. We're going to check that box. You can also additionally check multiple boxes at a time. But then you will go up to the top here and you're going to say drop. And as you can see, that's a very quick and easy action. So when you're dropping courses, it's really important that you go and make sure that you verify which course you selected to drop is the one that you intend. We will not be adding people back to their courses that they inadvertently dropped. So please just make that verification while you're doing that. One other action that you can do here as well is that course that we had, our 400 or 4,400. I'm not used to saying those 4-digit number yet. We can go ahead and edit. So in the edit feature, you can do a couple different things. You can update the grading basis to credit, no credit, as well as select different options for units. Say your instructor said that the work that you will be doing for this special problem is actually worth 2 units. Up until the 15th day of instruction, you can make those edits to the course. And then you can say continue. And then this is just verifying what you're going to be changing. So the original value was graded, and now it's going to be credit, no credit. The original value was 1 unit, and now it's going to be 2, and you can press continue. And you can verify those in your class schedule. So you see here now that this is listed as 2 units. Where you're going to verify your grading basis is actually under your academic progress and then grades. And you'll see the grading basis is now credit, no credit for that. Some of the other tools that we discussed earlier, I'll show briefly now. So we have Degree Planner here, and it may take a minute to load. While this is loading, it's a good time to just mention that, again, because Cal Poly's curriculum has gone under extensive changes during the transition to semesters and merging to the Solano campus, that this may look different as you anticipate than the first time. So here we can see our planned courses. We can move things around. And these are the unplanned courses that we have, or unplanned electives. So here's for fall, we have, and it's showing what we are enrolled in. This is what we have planned, but we haven't enrolled yet. And if you don't enroll in that for this term, what happens is it moves the requirement to a different term. Now we'll briefly go over degree progress report. So this is the degree progress report, and it's shows you when you've actually met your requirement. If you click here for view all, You can see when courses have been satisfied. You can click into the specific areas. So here we have the USCP as satisfied. That in progress means that you've taken some courses, but not everything is complete. And a lot of it is diving into the fields. One other thing that you'll want to note is that you have the ability to download the PDF of this degree progress report, and it's a tool that many people utilize. And it's very important that you want to run this often and just take a look at it after registration and grades posts to make sure that everything's falling into one of the categories and that it's not landing in a section that's not being used. Before we open for questions, the following are helpful resources to guide into further depths of what we discussed today. Our website additionally has really helpful tips and tricks, especially for a registration. All of the information we went over today on how to use Schedule Builder will be on this page. And then some of the information I just went over will be on the Student Center page. And you can see here that we have some actual demos of what we go over. If you have any questions related to registration issues, the records unit is available via phone and email for assistance. As we've gone through our presentation today, you've asked questions in the chat. Can our chat moderators give a quick recap of any questions from the chat that would be helpful for the group?
Hi, my friends. We've had a few consistent questions, one of which being, Michelle, would you mind explaining again the waitlist process and how a line can form even if there are open seats in the class?
So if seats are open in a class section and you have a student who wants to waitlist, who attempts to enroll prior to you, they may put themselves on the waitlist for a variety of reasons. Maybe they've exceeded their unit limit, variety of other reasons. So once a student checks the checkbox and hits that waitlist, all students who try to enroll after them on that particular day will be forced onto that wait list. It closes the class section, but each night the wait list process runs, and if seats are available, it evaluates students in the order or position they are on the wait list. And so it will allow students to enroll that night based on availability of seats and whether or not you meet. There's no time conflicts, no unit value issues. It will enroll you and it will send you an email. So if you don't receive an email, you have not been enrolled. However, your position on the wait list may have changed. So if there were 12 students on the wait list and 5 of them got in, you may have changed your position number on that wait list. So if more seats become available, you may be added at a later time.
Perfect. Thank you, my friend. There was also a consistent question that came up, I think, just with the terminology around enrollment appointment. So when we refer to an enrollment appointment or a registration appointment at Cal Poly, that does not mean that there is an actual physical appointment that you need to attend to meet with your advisor, to meet with a faculty member. That just means that day and time is the first moment that you are able to access the registration system and complete enrollment transactions. It doesn't mean you just have that hour. That is just the first time that you are going to be able to enter the system so we don't overload and have 22,000 students trying to enroll at the same time. So I know the use of the word appointment is a little confusing. It is not an actual check mark item that you need to attend in person. I hope that clarifies that a little bit. Could we also touch just briefly on what the purpose of changing the grading basis would be when completing the enrollment transaction?
Yeah, so students, and there's a credit no credit grading policy, which I will find the link to and drop it in the chat. Not all majors have the ability to take major or support courses credit no credit, but all students are able to take at least one GE credit no credit, and meaning that anything with a C minus or above is credit, and anything below that, the student does not receive credit for the class. So some student utilize that option. But again, once you make that change to credit, no credit grading, it's a good time to go back to your degree progress report to ensure that it is counting. Because as soon as you make that grading change, if that does not count, or if your major does not allow for it, it will fall into a category of course credits counted but not used. So it'll be at the bottom of your degree progress report, and you'll want to update that.
And Bond, you don't have to find it. I had put it into
Thank you so
the
much.
chat, and then Sarah just did as well. So we've got really good information on that website about when credit, no credit is appropriate and when it's not. And it can be pretty specific to your major. So we really recommend you look at that website very carefully before you try to exercise that option. So yeah. And we did get a few questions too about final transcripts, and I was answering those. That's my team takes care of those. So it could be a timing issue. We could have just received it, but a few of you seem to think it had been here for a while and maybe we hadn't processed it. So the solution there is please email evaluations@calpoly.edu, and we'll try to research that for you and get that added in. Sometimes it's just a matter of the final grades, and we've put in the courses without final grades, which should have it showing on your degree progress report, at least in the meantime. But yeah, obviously, eventually we want to get those finalized for you. So,
And then lastly, I believe one of the only other recurrent questions was about what courses to enroll in the fall term. And luckily, you all will have the opportunity to speak with your college advising center. For the first term, for the fall term, it is recommended that you rely on the recommended course list compiled by your major to complete your registration for the fall. And again, you will have the opportunity to answer all of those wonderful questions with your advisors shortly.
And likewise, I think I saw a few questions on permission numbers. Advisors will also be able to give you more information on whether or not you should be requesting a permission number. Those would be requested from the department offering the course or the instructor, depending on timing. The department is always a very safe group to go to for the first inquiry. But when you validate your schedule, if you do not meet prerequisites, again, that is something to talk through with advising to determine, do you need to shift which course you're planning to take, or is it truly a situation where something needs to be evaluated, or you need to be looked at to see if a permission number would be warranted.
And we do still have the Q&A function open, so if there are any other lingering questions you haven't had the opportunity to ask, please throw them in there and we're happy to get them answered for you. Michelle, I know we are planning on posting this recording. Is that correct?
I think that's a question for Dale and team. I don't have access to it. We will have something comparable posted, and we do have the helpful small snippets on our website, but the overall recording, I'm not sure if Dale and team can provide feedback on that.
Go ahead and jump in. I'm trying to get my camera. There we go. Hi again, everybody. Yes, so this will be recorded and you will be able to access it later. And though I'm not quite sure if the Q&A specifically will be able to be downloaded, so we'll look into that to see if we can download the Q&A and the questions so you can see all the different answers. There's a lot of great links in the chat that you can copy and paste and make sure that you're accessing them later. And so if the registrar is done, I can go ahead and do our little wrap up and share with folks that now would be the time to pull up that email that had the main Zoom link for today. It also had the Zoom link for the help desk. And then under your personalized agenda, you will be able to see your college advising breakout Zoom link as well. So a huge thank you to the registrar's team. Oh, it looks like the Zoom link also dropped in the chat. So a huge thank you to the registrar team. Thank you for being here and doing everything that you do behind the scenes, and then being able to share with the students about how to navigate registration at Cal Poly. And you can go ahead and continue to use the Q&A function. And then if you are all set with your questions for the registrar, go ahead and exit this webinar link and then access your college breakout session.